Bruh. Bruh. You know, okay, I woke up this morning pretty late, okay? Like, it wasn't even morning when I woke up. It was, like, noon. And I hopped on my Discord server, and I was like... And then, Lion Melon was in there, and he's like, what do you think of the new killer? And I'm like, oh shit, right. The new killer's out today. I should probably have a look at him. Okay. So I hopped on, I went on... What the hell am I watching? That's what I want to know. That's the first thing I wanted to know. It's like, what the hell am I watching? The new killer... You know what? We'll do him last. We'll do the Blight last. Let's deal with the rest of this first. There's a lot to unpack with this one. It's actually a lot. There's a lot more to unpack here than there is on the surface level. We'll deal with Mr. Drunk Ass last. Let's start with balance. We'll start by just kind of reading the patch notes that they put out. Okay, so let's tackle this offering shit first. Okay, so they added the Blight, they added Felix. Okay, we'll do that in a second. Okay, so there's some new offerings that we have to go over here. New rare offering for killers and survivors sacrificial ward cancels other offerings that would send you to a specific realm. So if you like don't want to pick the map, but you're worried about an SWF trying to take you to Larry's or some bullshit, you can just bring that. So this'll be alright. It's hard to tell when you're gonna need it though, because you don't know who's gonna try to take you to somewhere and who won't do that. So they seem to know that SWF picking the map is an issue, and they tackle it the lazy way, rather than like not letting them pick the map anymore. But you know, so it's a lazy way to fix it. Whatever. Okay, so that's a rare offering, right? Okay, next. Not too bad, that's alright. Bloody Blueprint. This is a common offering. Reveals the aura of the basement hooks for 20 seconds. It tells you where the basement is. And it also increases the chances of basement spawning at shack. So it lets the killer kind of pick where the basement is. And there's another one where it lets you spawn it in the main building, which is the one people won't use, because it's a lot of killers like Trapper like having shack better than when it spawns at the main building. So basically, it lets you pick where basement spawns. Which, I mean, that's not going to really help you, because you don't really get to pick the map if you run this offering. So it's like, it's kind of just some maps only have one basement, so those probably won't see a lot of usage. But okay, then we got these next ones. Annotated and Vigo's Blueprint. Okay, these offerings let you pick where hatch is. It lets you pick if hatch is gonna spawn at the main building or the shack, which is actually pretty good. It lets the killer pick where the hatch is, so it negates that RNG aspect. You can go right to the hatch and then close it if you get the right RNG, with the maps at least, because you can't pick the map if you run this. So you could run, you try to run for the shack one, and then you're more likely to pick the main building. That's probably the best thing you can do. But the only issue with this, I read them like, oh, that's not too bad, and then I remembered that keys existed. And survivors get this too. So any survivor running a key can also pick where the hatch is, and then it's an easy 4-man escape. So this is a huge buff to keys. Okay, this is nonsense. Upon further review, this is purely nonsense. If the survivor, it's pretty much nonsense if both sides have it, and negates the RNG aspect of the hatch. So if the killer gets it, they're gonna have an easier end game. If the gates spawn bad, you still get fucked. But if survivors get to use this shit, it's the easiest key escape of your life. So basically, SWF can really abuse the fucking shit out of this. So hatch is like gonna be a huge, massive problem. And of course, the devs have no plans to take the fucking hatch out, because that, you know that they're not going to take the hatch out. They just added a fucking offering for it. So great, hatch is still in the game. Thanks, behavior. Very mixed bag on these offerings, because on one hand the hatch offering is good because I can control where hatch is. On the other hand, it's bad because the SWF, well, I dodge keys anyway because I'm a smart player, and if you think that your survivor friends that's bringing a key into the match isn't going to run this shit, you're stupid. So keys now, after this shit goes in, you have to dodge them more than you've ever had to before. Because now they can just like, anybody with a key can also run this and then know where hatch is immediately at the start of the game. Ridiculous. ridiculous. You have to dodge a key every time you see one now, if you weren't before. Which I already was, because I'm a smart guy. Okay, so here's what we're doing. Features and content. So the graphical update's going in. The graphical update for Yamaoka and Springwood is going into the game. That's pretty good. That's pretty good, and I'll tell you why. I read that at first, and I didn't give a shit. Because it's like, it's just a graphical update, who cares? But Thasner, probably my most trustworthy source to PTB information, has confirmed that there have been some balance adjustments to these maps as well that are in PTB right now. We will go over what those are in a second. They're updating the fucking graphics of chest lockers and pallets. Who the fuck cares? The survivor interactions have been updated. Who the fuck cares? While aiming the flashlights. Up to 4.1 of the flashlight would aim up and right to the center of the screen. Towards the right. Okay, so they fix flashlights. Great. Okay, smaller stuff. Some bugs that are actually gonna see some changes. The biggest bug that I want to go over is the fact that surveillance is taking a nerf. They are when a generator is fully regressed with surveillance, the generator turns red now, which is not how it was before. So surveillance is taking a nerf. They're claiming it's a bug. I don't believe them. I just think that they're nerfing it because they're introducing a killer perk here, which might do some damage. So surveillance is getting hits. If they're gonna make Ruin good, they kind of nerf Ruin surveillance a little bit. The only other bug I wanted to go over was I have two more. Oni's Blood Fury is getting kind of fixed. The fucking issue where you just can't go in it. I've had that problem happen to me versus an SWF. Actually, it was really fun. And so they said they're fixing that. They're getting rid of rank update errors. Well, they said that again. And then they fixed an issue that caused the Plague's Vile Purge to arc higher than previously. So I don't know what the hell that means. They certainly aren't taking a look at her hitboxes like they need to, because you can just hit somebody and it goes right through them. It's silly. Maybe that's what they did. I'm not sure, dude. But like the Plague's hitbox is getting adjusted on her purge attacks. So that's pretty much all that we know about the bugs. And then, so that's that. Okay, before we move on to the perks, let's go over the balance. Now, this is all secondhand information from Thasner. So, I haven't been on the PTB. I'm a console player. So, I kind of took everything that he said and posted it right here. We'll start with Yamaoka, because that's the less interesting one to me, because I hate Bad Ham so much. Okay. So, at Yamaoka, apparently the only one that received breakables was Family Residence. Family Residence apparently was given breakables at the main building, which means, I mean, there's one window there that's a bit underrated. Nobody really talks about that window because it's not like a broken god loop, but it's kind of an underrated window. So hopefully they, not to make it too easy, but hopefully they put a breakable at the right spot to help kind of deal with that window a little bit. Both Yamaoka maps had their bamboo reduced. Thank God. Apparently, you can actually see at Sanctum of Wrath. Whoa, dude. You can see at Sanctum of Wrath now. It's not Blend at Heaven anymore. Apparently, the entity also sent the Legion to cut the grass, because that's all Legion's good for. Because they trimmed some of the grass at both Yamaoka maps, so they can't hide in them as well. I guess Legion was sent to cut the grass there, dude. That's probably what happened. Oh, God. But he said, Sanctum of Wrath's still pretty boring. They just did some graphical tweaks and got rid of some of the bamboo, so it's like not infuriating to play at. And then Family Residence got the bamboo tweaks as well, and the breakables at the main building. He said those are the only changes. Okay, Bad Ham though apparently was hit with some massive balance adjustments, which thank the fucking Lord. It definitely needed them. If Bad Ham was so great, why did we fix it again? I'm so glad that the devs made the right decision on this one. They definitely made the right decision, because Bad Ham was a fucking disaster. Still is right now. But okay, so they added the breakables to Badham. I love you too, J-Man. Okay, so apparently there's only one entrance into the school now. The rest are covered by breakables, according to Thasner. That's what he said. There's only one entrance to the school that isn't covered by a breakable. So if the killer just doesn't kick those breakables, they can't enter the school any other way but what I assume is the main entrance. The side entrances, I presume, have breakables on them now. So that's fantastic. That's a fantastic start already. They can't just, like, go in and out 3 different ways. That inherently gets rid of the, a lot of the bad design of that map, because they can just, the amount of tiles they can link has to do with the multiple entrances. So the fact that there's only one way in now, according to Thasner, means that they can only go in and go out one way. It's going to be much harder to link the tiles together at that map, at that structure. So thank God for that. There's only one pallet in the basement, which I think that was normal, of the bottom. He said, well, okay, I don't know if that means that they got rid of the pallet at the top. That's all I have here. All he said was there's only one pallet in the basement of the school. That's what it says. And they also adjusted the House of Pain. According to Thasner, there's also only one way into the House of Pain now. There's not 2 ways to get down there, which is really good, because it makes the room inherently riskier. Because you can't just, like, use that God pallet and then exit the other way. There's only, if the killer doesn't break that breakable, then you're fine. You don't have to worry about it. So just never break the breakable. The devs are putting a breakable there that you don't have to break. That's the beauty of it. Just don't break the breakable, and they don't have these fantastic structures. If you break the breakables, they have the structures. Don't break them. And then he also said that there is a God window that was blocked. They blocked one of the windows. That was a real problem. It was the God window that was right next to the God pallet. Also, there's like 6 God pallets at Badham. Just put that into perspective. But yeah, they actually blocked one of the windows. So there's only one way out of House of Pain now, if you don't kick the breakable. Which is really fantastic. Thasner said that both maps feel, like, all the Badham maps feel really balanced now. Or even despite them being big. So let's hope that's right. Thasner's really hard to impress with what they do in this game. So if Thasner says it's good, it's probably fantastic. So I definitely trust Thasner. These are definitely reliable, I guess if this is definitely reliable information. So that's definitely good. Thasner's the man, dude. Okay, so let's go ahead and they didn't hit Orman, not yet at least. But they finally apparently tweaked Badham, which is really important because Badham's a fucking disaster. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on. I'm very excited about playing the new Badham because it was just awful before and it was unplayable. So if these changes are good, then I won't bitch as much about Badham, I guess. Okay. So we're kind of rushing through this, but that's all right. Okay, so we got a male survivor this time, boys. We're gonna move on to the main meat of the chapter, which is the survivor and the killer. Okay, so we got 3 perks, right? We'll start with the survivors. Definitely not as much quality on the survivor side this time. They got some okay stuff, but like definitely like not to the standard of quality that we've been receiving from For the People and Soul Guard and Repressed Alliance. Nothing as good as the last 2 chapters. Okay, so I'll just start with the order that I know they are. Okay, the first perk was Visionary. The pillar's pinball garbage. Visionary. Your generator's auras are revealed for 32 meters. Anytime a gen is completed, you have a cooldown of 16 seconds. Easy. That perk is trash. Nobody cares about seeing the aura of gens. Because if you're good at the map, if you're good at this game, you already know where they are. So, this perk is completely ignorable trash. It's a beginner perk. We don't have to worry about it, though, because we're fantastic. So, Visionary is bad. Moving on. The next perk is called Desperate Measures. You refuse to fail even during darkest times. For each injured, hooked, or dying survivor, increase the speed of your healing and unhook actions by 10, 12, 14%. That is actually insane. Like, listen to this, people. So like let's say everybody's injured, because that's like the game state where Wraith and Ghostface like, right? So everyone's injured. You take 14 times 4, right? 56 that's 56%. So you take 16 times 0.56. That's 8.96. So 16 minus 8.96. It will take the survivor 7 seconds to pop a heal with everybody injured. Base. Sloppy Butcher might add like 4 seconds to it, but I even did those numbers. It still like cuts it in half. This guy can like decrease. This guy gets half healing speed when everyone's injured, so he can turn a Sloppy Butcher heal into like 10 seconds or something. Like, that's pretty good. It's not a second chance perk, so of course survivors are saying it's terrible, but like this is a perk that killers cannot sleep on. If this perk is in matches, it can really ruin Ghostface and Wraith's day, and by extension even Legion. If this perk makes popping heals reliable again. It's basically a survivor version of Thanatophobia, but its numbers are much better than Thanatophobia. I wish Thanatophobia had these numbers. 14% for every survivor? Wow, that'd be cool. Killers get 4% though. Survivors get 14. They literally gave survivors 10% more for their version of Thanatophobia. Ridiculous. Literally ridiculous. And here's another thing. Are people just forgetting that botany knowledge is in this game? And autodidact? Okay, autodidact's bad, so we'll just run botany knowledge. You can have, let's see, it's 14 times 4, right? Which is 56, right? Times 4, 56, plus 33 from botany knowledge, that's 89%. You can literally cut heals down by 90% if you stack botany knowledge with this new perk and everyone's injured. So you can like heal somebody in like 2 seconds. That's insane. That's insanely good, dude. This perk is obviously getting slept on because it's not a second chance perk. Do not underestimate this perk. This feels like it's probably his best perk. Be on the watch out for it. It'll probably go away. It might not be anything, but just keep in mind that it's there, and if you see a fast heal, that's probably why. Next, built to last. Once per trial, a depleted item will refill 50% of its charges after 10 seconds. So basically, you can get 50% of your toolbox back when you're trying to rush that final gen. Okay, that's actually pretty decent too. That again, this is another perk that's getting slept on because survivors only like DS borrow time. It's not a second chance perk, but this perk can come in really clutch late game with a toolbox. That's what this is really going to be used for. If you have your Commodious toolbox refill for 50% of its charges when you're trying to rush a generator, like that's like what 60% of the gen that you can get done in like what 15, 16, 20 seconds. Like that's probably not that fast, but that's insane. That's insane. The amount of speed they can cut down on that. Again, these aren't second chance bullshit perks, but these perks are not to be slept on by any stretch. They're admittedly like not as huge as like some of the other perks like For the People and Soul Guard of the previous patches, but like these perks are definitely going to be decent mid-tier options, and you should watch out for them. And these mid-tier options can get you, and you know, like the thing about these perks too is that they're really sleepy. Like you're not gonna see that it's this perk that's killing you. Whereas Soul Guard, you can read it. Borrowed Time, you can read it. DS, you can counterplay it. With these perks, you won't know that it's this stuff that's killing you. Built to last is going to be a really clutch way to rush that final generator, and you won't even know that built to last is what killed you. So you're going to have to really watch out for this stuff. Okay, let's go over the Blight. More like the bitch. Okay, but before we say that, I'm going to actually commend the devs this time around. These perks are much better. These perks are much better than anything we've gotten in a very long time. These are the best. These are the best killer perks since Nemesis and Blood Echo. So like almost a year. Everything that we've gotten in the entire year, like all three of these perks. This killer's worst perk is better than anything that Demogorgon has. It's better than anything that no, it's not better than I'm All Ears. I don't think the worst perk. No. These are the best killer perks that we've definitely gotten in, like, 2 chapters. I think yeah. Yeah, these are definitely the best killer perks we've gotten in, like, 6 months. So these are definitely good. And, I'd actually argue that his best perk is the best perk we've gotten in a very, very long time for this game. This is definitely the best perk that we've gotten since Infectious Fright. So, and Corrupt Intervention. So, like, we've got some good stuff to work with here that we haven't gotten in, like, almost a year. So, commend the devs, dude. We haven't gotten a good perk this good since 2019, early 2019 with the Plague, with Infectious and Corruption, because... Or I guess I'm All Ears and Thrilling are okay, but that's beside the point. The point is this is the best stuff we've gotten in a long time, so it'd be a crime not to go over it. Okay, Dragon's Grip. Okay, after kicking a generator for the next 30 seconds, the survivor that interacts with it screams, and they become exposed for a minute, and it has a cooldown of 80 seconds. Okay, the first time I read this, I went, wow, this seems pretty good. But the fact that it's 30 seconds might hold the perk back a little bit. If it was like Surveillance, this would be busted. And it would be really good, but it's not surveillance numbers, so like it's not like they touch the generator for like you can apply it for like 60 seconds on a gen or something. Like it's 30 seconds. It's only half a minute. That being said, though, the exposed status effect for a minute is actually very impressive. And if you're running this with like All-Seeing Blood on the Wraith, you could quickly get over there and down somebody extremely quickly. So, like, this perk does have potential. You can get over there with the Wraith, the Demogorgon. The Demogorgon with a portal right by the generator. Like, this could be really impressive. Or Freddy. Freddy could make this work. This could be really good on Freddy Krueger. Like this perk is actually... Like, there's a lot of killers that this could be good on. Even somebody like Legion could make this work. So like this perk definitely has some potential to do something, which is more than I can say about anything about Pyramid Head. And it's like let's talk about how dumb behavior is. Like they gave this perk a cooldown of 80 seconds, right? That's the same cooldown that Trail of Torment has. They think 60 seconds with the exposed status effect on the survivor is just as good as 15 seconds of undetectable. That's bruh. Like, what the fuck is wrong with behavior, dude? Like, buff Trail of Torment, please. But, anyway. So, the thing I'm most worried about with the new perk is obviously the 30-second thing. It might not, like, once they know you have it, they might not get caught by it again. But, still, 30 seconds. If you run this with Ruin... Wait, no, you can't, because you have to kick a generator. If you didn't have to kick a generator, like 30 seconds of regression on Ruin could actually be nice. But like, basically, pop goes the weasel. Like, if they're trying to rush something late game and you pop a generator with like 75%, you pop a gen that has like 90% done, survivors might be quick to go back on it, and then that's when you can Dragon's Grip them and get another down. So like, this is definitely not a perk that... This is definitely one of the best perks we've gotten in a while. Which is like, so that, like, let that set the tone. Like, they really wanted to set the tone with this, because like 60 seconds of exposed status effect on a perk that's not terrible, like, this might be decent, and that set the tone. Okay, the next two perks. Hex, Blood Favor. Of course, I rolled my eyes when I saw the word Hex, but just give him a minute, and he'll redeem himself. When a survivor is hit within 16 meters of pallets within 16 meters of your location are held in place by the entity for 15 seconds. They cannot be pulled down. They can still be vaulted over, but they can't be pulled down. And it has a cooldown of 40 seconds. A Hex perk with a cooldown. Nice work, behavior. This is his worst perk. A Hex perk with a cooldown. Like this, like, because this perk has a cooldown, it could not be a Hex perk and still be completely average. And besides, 16 meters isn't that big of a deal. Any survivor that understands what tile linkage is will absolutely ruin this perk today. Plus, they get a sprint burst after they get hit. Did we just forget about that? They get a fucking sprint burst. They can, like, go almost 16 meters with the sprint burst that you give them after hitting them. So all they have to do is just gain a lot of distance, especially if you're playing a 110 killer like the Hag or Deathslinger or something. Like, or Huntress even. Like, this isn't going to do much. If it said 32 meters, it would actually be pretty good. But that would be worthy of a Hex slot. But as it is right now, it's literally an add-on on the Blight, and that add-on doesn't even look very good. So, pretty underwhelming perk here. I don't like it very much. I don't think it's going to be that good. But maybe I'll eat my words. We'll see. But the standout perk of this chapter on both sides is definitely Hex Undying. There's the last one. So basically, Survivor's auras are revealed for 6 seconds when they're standing within 2 meters of any totem. Okay, well that's cute, I suppose. It makes it like a base thrill of the hunt. It gives it some base hex protection. That's cute. But we don't give a fuck about that effect. No! We like this last effect. When a different hex totem is cleansed, that hex is transferred to a dull totem. Yeah, there you go, boys. Basically, what this basically means is that Ruin might be in the game for more than 2 seconds. It transfers any hex totem to a different one, except for this one. So if they get this one, you're up shit creek without a paddle. But the fact that if you're running this, like, you're guaranteed to like be able to protect your hexes more effectively, as well as transfer anything, as well as transfer your Ruin totem over to a dull totem is actually going to be really sick. Because the only thing that's bad about Ruin right now is its consistency. I like Ruin. I can't believe I'm actually saying that now in August. It took me till about August to start liking it, but I actually like Ruin now. The fact that it's the only split-gen answer in this game, and the fact that if you get, like, one good play, Ruin can, like, eviscerate the generators. Like, if you get 2 people slugged, they have to leave the gens, and then you can get, like, some massive Ruin value in that time. So, like, Ruin is actually not a bad perk. The only problem is if it gets cleansed, you're down a slot. So a lot of people are running Pop as backup, but if you run Hex Undying, you might not need Pop anymore as a backup slot for Ruin. Because you can protect your totem, keep it in, and it also will, Hex Undying might get you some bonus downs because you'll be able to, actually fucking defend your totem a little bit better. The fucking aura reveal of 2 meters of any totem is fucking not bad. It's not bad. And if you combine it with even Thrill of the Hunt, it can be really hard to destroy totems. And that aura thing doesn't seem to have a cooldown. So like if they're sitting there cleansing your totem, like that 6 seconds might reset, which is actually pretty good. This perk is actually decent. And then some elephants in the room though. Tokens accumulated on hex perks are removed, so you cannot transfer a 5-stack Devour Hope over to a different totem if it gets cleansed, unfortunately. As sick as that would be. But obviously the devs were not thinking, well, I mean they were thinking, that's the problem. But what's up, Caleb Davis? This doesn't say anything about Noed, so assume you can transfer your Noed totem. If survivors ignore totems and you're running Hex Undying with Noed, it could keep your Noed on like 3 different totems, which would be fucking disgusting late game. This like that combo might win you a game, even though I don't like Noed. Like that objectively is going to be very strong if people don't cleanse totems. And then the other obvious thing is that you could throw it on Hex Undying with Haunting Ground. You could potentially see Haunting Ground 2 times in one game. My only issue with that is you need to give them more incentive to cleanse. So like you might have to run fucking Ruin too. But then that's 4 totems and there's only 1 slot. So even if they get Haunting Ground, it's like if you're running only Hex Undying and Hex Haunting Ground, like they could just ignore totems and you wouldn't see Haunting Ground again. So like I think that combination's being blown way out of proportion with how strong it's going to be. Hex Undying is definitely going to be the strongest when you run it with Ruin, because keeping Ruin in the game long enough for you to get a play going with it, and that's definitely the standout here. So I'm very impressed with this perk. Of course, it's still RNG, so you could still get Hex Undying cleanse first, and then they can find Ruin 20 seconds later. But like as you start giving these more specific scenarios to take out Hex perks, the worse, the more unreliable they come. Like if they want to get Ruin out of the game in 20 seconds now, they have to cleanse Hex Undying first, and then they have to find Ruin literally 10 seconds later. That's a lot. Oh, hello, Gaged on 500. Good stuff, dude. Thanks for watching, dude. I appreciate it. But it's very I like this perk. I like this perk a lot. This fucking shit will keep hexes in the game. So they definitely did a fantastic job with this perk. I'm worried about it though. This is something I could see not coming into the game. This is the perk that might see a nerf from PTB to in-game. Like they might say it only happens once a game, so you can't just like keep transferring your ruin to like 4 different totems. Because like if you get really good RNG here, and they get ruin, and then they get ruin again, and they get ruin again, ruin can potentially have to go through like 4 different totems before it actually gets cleansed, which is beautiful. And like, what killer is not gonna have some momentum by then? So this perk might keep ruin back in the meta, dude. Okay, so that's everything. That's everything about the perks. Okay, I saved the best for last, guys. Let's go over the drunk boy, Mr. Pinball Machine himself, the Blight. I don't know what behavior was thinking. Well, actually, I do. What happened here was, I got what happened here. So basically what happened was Dave Richards and Matthew Cotier, okay, what they were doing was, they were drunk, alright? They were drunk at a bar in Canada. That's really fucking edgy, I know. They were drunk at a bar in Canada, right? And they were playing drunk pinball machine. And Cotier was like slamming the thing, and they were watching the ball bounce everywhere, and their eyes were bouncing back and forth. And then Dave Richards like tapped Cotier, and he was like, "Dude, are you thinking what I'm thinking?" And he pointed at the pinball machine, and Cotier was like, "I think I am thinking what you're thinking." And now we have the Blight. Okay, so what does this clown do? Alright, he fucking like okay, he charges at you, okay? He has something called a rush. He dashes forward, and in this first initial dash, he cannot hit you. I responded to your message, dude. And he dashes forward and he can't touch you. So survivors don't have to drop a pallet on him when he's dashing forward for the first time. He then has to smash into a wall. It's actually called a smash, I believe, right? He actually has to smash into a wall, and then he can hit you. And then he raises his big cane looking thing, and then he can dash forward again, and then he can either hit a wall again or actually try to hit a survivor. So he plays pinball. He bounces off one wall into another wall, into another wall, into another wall, and then he can hit you, essentially. Okay, what the fuck are they thinking? Like, how's that gonna be good? Like, admittedly, he does have map traversal, so like he can get around the map pretty quick, which is definitely one of his biggest strengths, because he can move. Anybody that can move is worth taking a look at in this game, I reckon. Because if you're like Myers, or Bubba, like Bubba's still pretty limited in terms of map pressure. Let's not kid each other. If you're like Myers, like if you're like Myers or Shitslinger or Trapper, Jesus, or Trapper, or even Hag in a lot of situations, you just leave gens on the table really quickly. And especially since he has an add-on that gives him undetectable. That's some decent early game right there. So getting from point A to point B is not going to be an issue that he has. The problem is this power in a chase looks super unreliable, especially at maps like Rotten Fields and of course the ever popular Larry's. Larry's looks like it's going to eat him alive. Because it's either you have too many things to bounce off of, or you don't have enough shit to bounce off of. The nicest you can be to this killer is saying he's map dependent. That's the very nicest thing you can say about him. The character looks drunk. He looks rough to play. Everybody that's playing him doesn't look like they're having fun, because it looks like you're fighting against the character to do something, and that's something I could say about none of the other characters I've seen since my release, since my start of playing this game. I started between Legion and Plague. Like, I have never seen a character like this in Identity V or Dead by Daylight, where it looks like you're fighting against the character's shitty mechanics to actually do something. It doesn't look like the character's helping you. It looks like he's a hindrance to you in everything that he does in a chase. Well, I mean, when he works, he's really cool. I'll say that. If they just tweaked him a little bit, I think he'd be neat. This is certainly an interesting concept on paper, and it's certainly original. This is a very original character. This is an original idea. So with Behavior's original ideas, it's either going to be at the top or bottom of the tier list. This is either going to be really good or it's going to be shit. There's going to be no in between with this guy. I don't see him being mid-tier. He's either going to be like the worst character in the game, or he's going to be like the best character in the game. And so far, he looks like he has no loop utility. It doesn't look like any survivor that he's hitting right now, on any game I've watched as him. If they just stuck to a loop and like had actual fundamentals with their defense, they would have actually just shreked him. It doesn't look like any hit is going to be something capable of being replicated against good SWF. Which is a shame, because he looks cool. I think that one of the biggest problems is that he's too fat. His hitbox is too big. Which is something true, and even Oates Vara, who is more reluctant to call out behavior on their nonsense, because he's a fog whisperer now. Even he says the killer is a bit too fat. If they were to just reduce the size of his hitbox a little bit, he might be able to make some of these cuts better. Because he can kind of turn a little bit, but it's not that great. But the biggest issue is when he crashes into something, he will then back up and crash into it again, and he will lose a charge. He has like 6 charges default. If he crashes, and he loses like 3 charges trying to even get somewhere, he can't fucking down anybody. Like, he can't even make a play because he's crashing into things. It just looks frustrating when you have a mechanic that looks like it could be fun, but like just behavior bullshit that like they intentionally designed to keep it quote unquote balanced, because it doesn't look very good. It doesn't even look very. It doesn't look very good. He can move, and like he has like a double cooldown that people are irritated with. Like when he hits a survivor, he has to like hit the survivor and then he like injects himself with a syringe or something. It's like a fucking 8-second cooldown, which looks really rough. Like, the cooldowns in this game suck enough to begin with, and, like, this guy has 2 of them? It seems to me like there's a lot of unnecessary limitations placed on this character, because they thought he was going to be better than he looks. He just doesn't look that appealing. He doesn't look fun. He looks rough and clunky to play. His perks are impressive enough to where you have to buy them. You have to throw down the money if you care about this game. I think Hex Undying looks like it's going to be worth experimenting with on everybody. But his power just looks rough. He looks really, really rough to play as. It doesn't look like nobody looks like they're having fun. They look like they're fighting against a drunk character that can barely move. He doesn't look like he's strategizing. He looks like he's drunk. The character looks like he's struggling when you... He looks like an old man with a cane, dude. That's what he looks like, which is basically what he is. It's hard for me not to feel bad for this guy watching him play. But that being said, though, this character isn't nothing. If they were to just buff his turning a little bit, decrease his hitbox, let him actually move, like he could be really fucking cool. It would be like a really cool. It's a really cool idea. It's just that it has what I call behavior limitations on it, where they take a character and they take a concept and they give it unnecessary behavior limitations. An example of behavior limitations in this game would probably be shit, dude. I was gonna say Doctor, but they fucking fixed him. Who has behavior limitations? Billy. There you go, Billy. The newest example of behavior limitations. They have a power that was actually really good, and they put behavior limitations on it to make it a lot worse. Pig has behavior limitations. It's hard for her to crouch mid-chase. Clown with the reloading. Like, stuff that could be good. Legion. Legion has a lot of behavior limitations. There's so much you can do with him to make him good. I'll cease that conversation there. But the point is that Myers has behavior limit. Myers tier 1 is an example of a behavior limitation. The point is this guy's got a lot of unnecessary mechanics in his kit for the sake of balance, and I don't think it's needed. I think if they want to have these limitations, they need to fix them a little bit. They need to adjust his turning, adjust his hitbox. That being said, this guy looks better than Shitslinger. He looks like he's gonna be. He looks better than Shitslinger, I think. But I don't know. Shitslinger's been growing on me lately. I don't know how good this guy is. It's really rough to place him right now. But I mean, it's fine. Let's not. It's way too early to be saying his position on the tier list anyway. Exactly, especially since the final product's not even in the game. So placing him on a PTB tier list is kind of silly. But this guy can only make like a 50-degree turn. I wish he had like Oni turning at least. Like Oni could turn about 90 degrees, right? This guy can only turn like 40. It would be really nice if he had better turning, because as it is right now, you could be chasing a survivor and they can just 360 you and you can't do anything when you're playing as the Blight. He can't do anything. He can't react to 360s because his fucking turning when he's in his power isn't good enough. Like, it looks like it's a basic attack, but it's not. It's not a basic attack at all. It's not affected by Unrelenting. It doesn't lose stacks on Save the Best for Last. Like, it's its own power, even though it has the basic attack animation. Kind of like how Nurses used to be. I don't think it is anymore. Kind of like how Nurses used to be. But yeah, this guy looks like some shitty cross between Legion and I don't know. I don't know why people are comparing him to Legion, really. See, he's weird, dude. This looks like some shitty combo between Oni and Legion. So, I don't really know his future. I think they need to buff him. I don't think he's ready for the game, the way that he is. That being said, Behavior will probably drop him in exactly as he is, just like they did to the fucking shit slinger. So, because I think everybody agrees that he feels a bit weak right now, but we'll see. Like, people will turn on a dime in this game. Everyone thought Shitslinger was weak, and now everyone's saying he's too oppressive and needs adjusted. I disagree with that entirely. I don't think he has the map pressure for that. But we'll definitely see what this kid's future is. His perks are good enough to where I'm excited about the chapter. I hope they adjust him and make him a bit stronger. But overall, I think he's really funny. I think he's hilarious to watch. He's a goofball. The killer is a huge fucking goofball. He doesn't look that good right now, and it's a shame because his perks are really good. I wish they would just let him be meta. You know, I say that about everybody. I wish they would just let him cut loose and be a top tier, which they did that for Pyramid Head, thankfully. Oni, I think, was an accident. I don't think they intended for Oni to be as good as he is, but yeah, he looks rough. My final assessment is that the kid looks rough. He looks like pinball. He looks like a piece of crap. Okay, I'm not even gonna be nice anymore. He looks like a piece of shit. He doesn't look very good. But that being said, if we figure him out, like, there's no mid-tier future for this guy. He's either gonna be broken or he's gonna suck. There's literally no in between here. He's a fucking goofball, dude. He crashes into everything. It's hard to see. It looks hard to realign yourself. The character just looks like he has so many unnecessary hindrances that they should just get rid of like 2 of them, and then it'll be a lot more rewarding. He doesn't look rewarding. It looks like he's got to take a lifetime to master for like borderline Legion results. So I hope they buff him. I hope they give him some adjustments to make him worth the time he is learning. But that's pretty much all I gotta say right now. Well, there's really nothing more to say about this, so we'll see what he does when he gets in. It's time to start saving BP, which thankfully I already have a lot of it here, so save the BP. Ciao, lads.